4th of February, and the political temperature is rising. I'm Anulu Akpordo, and this is Daybreak Live, where power speaks and we listen closely.
And Amuluayemi Adelakun, the day opens with sharp words from Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde declaring there will be no more vagabonds in the PDP. A statement aimed at some party members and one that signals the PDP's internal battle is far from over.
Strong language, strong implications. Is this party discipline or the sound of a house still struggling to find its center after defeat?
In a moment, Daybreak News brings you the key national and global development shaping politics, policy and public life.
And after that, we turn to newspaper headlines and analysis, examine the stories behind the ink with our analyst, Ignatius Ofino, a public affairs analyst today.
Then it's time for our big story, and today the focus is on Rivers State, peace or power play, Tinubu's intervention and the politics of control in Rivers State. Is the presidency calm intentions or recalibrating political influence?
And joining us for that conversation is Sam Mwoko, deputy editor with the Nigerian Tribune, bringing insight, context and clarity to a very sensitive political equation.
We'll also keep an eye on Trend Watch, where the loudest national conversations meet the realities beneath them.
It's February, and Nigeria's politics is wasting no time.
Definitely. This is Daybreak Live. Let's get into it. Good morning to you.
A beautiful morning to you, Yemi.
Exactly.
Morning.
Good morning. Okay, so something happened yesterday. I'm sure you might have seen the video, circulating online, where the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde said in the videos that he described as vagabonds who once held sway within the People's Democratic Party have been expelled from the party, declaring an end to internal disruption in its affairs. He spoke on Tuesday yesterday during the unveiling of Oyo State PDP Secretariat in what appeared to be a response to comment earlier made by former Rivers State Governor, that's Nyesom Wike. I recall that on Monday, Wike was speaking at the party's National Executive Committee NEC meeting in Abuja, had vowed to protect the PDP from what he described as internal vampires, and also declared interest in the activities of the party's Oyo State chapter. So these two individuals who used to be friends are now giving us names. They are speaking in parables, though it's not something so difficult to understand now. According to Makinde, vagabonds are out of the party. According to Wike, I'm going to deal with the vampires of that political party, and I'm also very much interested in your state PDP. So these are the issues that we have in our hands, and it is actually very sad to say that these two individuals were united, in the last general elections. I'm talking about the G5. You see them, there was even a point they wore same clothes. I mean, we know them as friends, so I don't know how it got to this point, and I don't know what is really going on. But Makinde is trying to explain that, according to what I read yesterday and the videos that I watched, that whatever it is that is going on within the PDP, Wike should not involve or your PDP in that. He's saying, okay, these are different issues, and of course, you have no right to say you want to come and take over, you're interested in or your PDP. And then away from that as well, let's also talk about the fact that he mentioned something. He said when he came into the party in 2019, initially he was yoked with this vagabond, but now he said, I'm a born again, I'm a saint, I've decided to separate myself from them, things like that. And then he also mentioned the fact that even in 2015, these vagabonds started to gain traction or grew wings because of the leadership crisis, and that was the reason why the party lost election in 2015. And then Makinde said these vagabonds, 10 old, good years, they've been able to perpetrate all sorts of evils, and then that their time is up. He also mentioned the fact that they were expelled in 2025. Now, this is the problem, because there was a convention in Ibadan in 2025. I think before that convention held, they got a go-ahead from the Oyo State, High Court, and then the convention happened. But then, according to the Federal High Court Ibadan now, Federal High Court Ibadan is saying the convention cannot stand. As a matter of fact, it is not considered, by the court of law, because they didn't follow the court order. Now, this is the problem. The court now is recognizing the Wike faction of the PDP, which according to the Turaki faction should not really even happen at all, because according to them, it's an internal affair. If at all there's a problem going on in PDP, why should the court interfere every single time? They should allow the party to solve their problem, because we are seeing expulsion versus expulsion. You recall, certain members were expelled in that convention, and of course, later, the Wike faction also expelled some certain individuals. It's a problem now. And then most Nigerians are saying, why can't the founding fathers of PDP step into this matter to ensure that, peace is returned to the political party? I don't see that happening anytime soon. And of course, I think the people, let me say, the party supporters, are at a very disadvantage now, because I don't know how they want to do it to ensure that, they'll support the party against the next, general election. So this is the issue that we have in our hands, and it's really sad to see that these people will continue to throw subtle shades, at each other, especially not even on the state level now, even at the federal level, really.
Well, I think I would start from saying, very importantly, that this is not just a personal vendetta. This is not just a personal fight or quarrel, if you would like. It is more about struggle for power in the PDP. So because if you listened carefully to the governor for your state, Engineer Seyi Makinde, yesterday, and maybe previous times that he's spoken about this issue too, you discover that, he has always come to say that, yes, I used to be a part of this. And because, of course, everybody knows that G5 was a thing that existed at the time. But I won't be shocked after all of this turbulent moment in the PDP if these guys get together, because I know it's not impersonal. It's just political. So when it happened yesterday that the PDP secretariat was, commissioned, you could ask questions. Of course, we were expecting Seyi Makinde to mention names, of course, to talk about the people, the other faction, and what they are doing and what they are not doing right. But I think one of the things I'm going to allude to quickly is what he mentioned about some people holding the PDP for APC. So because that has been his claims that there is a faction that doesn't really want the interest of PDP to come to bear, and that conversation is now about a federal might versus a state might. And this is why Nyesom Wike is currently serving as Minister of the FCT. So he's wielding, in a sense, a federal might. Seyi Makinde is your state governor, of course. And so you can tell that if it boils down to who has more might in terms of federal strength or capacity, then Wike might have a upper hand in that particular discourse. But, I think one of the things that we are even going to see is that after all of the expulsions, counter-expulsion and all of that, the vagabond story, how that if somebody is trying to hold you back, we are saying no to them, and a lot of that, it still boils down to, we understand, coming to a point of understanding that whatever happens, let it be for the best or the interest of the party. I think when they do this kind of thing, sometimes they really do not care who succeeds God. Sometimes they just want to fight dirty, get into the trenches, like people would say, and whatever they say, they don't care, they don't mind. Because I know at the end of the day, these guys can still come together. But what is more important for me is that they look for a way to help this party. And this is why I'm saying, if you do well or you do badly in your party, it affects the other party. Now, the incumbent administration of APC is enjoying this whole drama, and this is why they're enjoying it. There's a particular portion of the game that's supposed to be played by opposition party. If the incumbent is not doing well, it's the job of the party that is not in power to say, hey guys, you guys are not doing nothing. We are not seeing any impact. You are just wasting people's time and all of that. Put them on their toes and let them know that there's a lot to do. Because if it's all for the interest of the people, let it really be for the interest of the people. Put fire in their bosom to say, you guys are really not doing what Nigerians are expecting. What you're doing is the far cry from what you're expecting. So can you do better? So that particular power play or that particular opposition party play is not happening in the country. Now, this is how it's happening. It's happening from different quarters and parties. For example, Peter Obi will begin to speak about this administration, the use of the administration. Shubure became notable about this as well. Quite a number of persons are speaking up against this party. I mean, it should have been the case of the PDP against the APC and maybe some other parties as well, not to disregard the parties or discount their, their leverage as well. But to say that PDP has once wielded such powers the national powers to say, we've also done it before. And so if you are doing it this way, we don't think this is the right way. And then put fire. Let them see that there's so much to do, not just feel relaxed because they're having 23 or 28 or 32 governors to themselves. That's not what's more important. What's more important is, are the people enjoying the benefit or dividends of democracy? Are people enjoying this administration? Put that on the table of discourse. All of the fight about Wike, yes on Wike, and then the governor for your state, it's just a political drama. It's really not of nothing of so much importance, at the end of the day. But let me also mention that, the competing visions and strategy disagreement within the PDP party is not so, because I think some have said that we should get leaders who should wade into this issue and try to solve it. But who are the leaders? Maybe that's the question, because people that are supposed to be leaders are the ones fighting like babies. No disrespect, but if you have to say that we need to call people who can help us, who are the people we can think about in the PDP? So they are all, everybody's forming, yes, I've done so much for PDP, so you can't just stand me out. You can't just say I'm not important, I'm not consequential to this party. Yes, you will not prove your consequentiality by dragging yourself. You will not prove your consequentiality by fighting yourself. You can only prove it by solving issues that are underlying, by solving the party issues, even when it strikes or pins your ego, even when it's not very palatable or is away from your preferences. I mean, the party should be at the foresight of everybody. Now, maybe some would also say, well, there's been the allegation that the president is interested in what Wike is doing, especially in the PDP, to hold them back and so that PDP would not really do well. But that conversation is really not the best if you have to think about it. Because if you say Wike is holding the PDP party, and then everybody seems to. So what about the people that are following Wike? Because if it's about Wike's personal interest now, we have quite a number of persons that are following, especially in River State, the Martin Amaewule and his camp, and a lot of them following Wike, close knees. They don't even see any other person to follow. They are following Wike, hook, line, and sinker, if so to say, just to follow him to the point of, I don't know, maybe no return. But you might ask yourself, so what's the need for those people to? If Nyesom Wike is trying, but I think one of the things Nyesom Wike, from my own perspective, is trying to do is that it's trying to proclaim himself a very strong voice in the party. He's trying to say, what I say stands. If I mention something about this party, then it should stand. If you want to oppose me, you can go ahead and oppose me. But I'm telling you that whatever I say as Nyesom Wike should stand in the PDP. And that's what Governor Seyi Makinde is not allowing.
Yeah, I think you're very spot on. Because a lot of things that you mentioned, are very correct, because especially with the fact that, they are not playing that opposition party very well in terms of trying to correct some things that maybe the ruling government is doing. And then one thing that led to PDP losing that election in 2015 is anti-party activities. And then if care is not taken, it might repeat itself, in this next elections. Because a lot of persons are saying, I want to be in the party, but I'll also do certain things that will help me gain maybe favor or loyalty from another political party. And then over time, this party has not been able to fix this issue. I just mentioned to you now that some persons were expelled from the party at the last convention, and then later on, Wike faction also expelled some individuals in the same political party. So what is really going on? So this is the problem, and I don't know those that can step in. But I want to believe, just like you mentioned, but there are still people, for instance, are the BOT members, or let me say the elderly ones who have been members of the party, for years, even before the likes of, Makinde and Wike joined the party. Maybe they can step in at this point in time. Not just for anything, but so the people of Nigeria can have an alternative. Because a lot of persons will tell you the reason why they will not come out to vote is because they don't really know who to choose or who to vote for amongst the candidates. And imagine when we don't have maybe good, I don't want to use that word, when we don't have people up to 4 or 5 persons contesting for presidency. A lot of persons will tell you, because 1, 2, 3, I'm not really interested in these 3 individuals, so I want to sit back at home and vote. So the opposition party, really, one of their major duties is to present candidates to the people, to present candidates to Nigeria so that they can have that, capacity to choose whosoever it is they want to emerge as next president of the country. And at this point in time, it's not even certain if PDP will be allowed to push a candidate. Because Adeleke left the party for that same reason and went to Accord. Because if he had stayed back, he would not be able to contest for second term. Now look at the party crisis that is going on now. Same thing happened to Labour Party. The FCT polls. Labour Party could not contest. Why? Because of leadership crisis. Until the court now said, okay, recognize Nenandi as the chairman of the party. But then, the deed has been done already. They could not contest for the FCT poll. So if care is not taken, it will affect, I just want to pity, the governors that we see have left. Abu Kefas just left too recently. We see have Dauda Law, who is saying, okay, I'm still very comfortable. Even Makinde himself said, I'm still comfortable in the PDP. And shortly after he met with the president, and of course the likes of Wike's aide, Larry Olaika, and of course Fayose came out to say that, he was embarrassed. He didn't really get to say much to the president. And then he came out to say, you know what, I'm comfortable in the PDP. I have no interest in moving to the APC. So these are the issues. If care is not taken, it will affect the remaining governors, that are still PDP members. And of course, they might not be able to push a candidate forward for the next election.
I think let me just, jump on the bandwagon to say that you mentioned something about the BOT, the Board of Trustees for the PDP. But, all of this crisis we're seeing now reflects a structural damage, a structural weakness in the PDP. If PDP has been on the spotlight for, say, over 2 decades, it means that there should have been a structural arrangement that can see to issues like this. So if we are calling the elders of the party, which I think we should, and we are doing right now, to find a way to settle this, issue, I think it's very important to also note that there's been a structural weakness in the PDP, which is why we are where we are. Because obviously, if there's no structural weakness, we would not have this for this long. Because obviously, if you run a party, you should have conflict resolution systems and strategies in place. Once you start a party, that's why you have constitution. The party has constitution, the party has its by rule and some of the things they follow and the guidelines they also undertake, which is very important. So if you do not adhere to that, it means that you do not have one, maybe, because there should be someone calling everybody to order to say, if you are going beyond the scope of our guidelines, then we might need to send you away. It's quite simple. They are not intentional enough, or should I say, the structure is lacking. The structural system, the structural arrangement is a bit not so well put together, which I think they should now start doing. The BOT and the elders of the PDP party, I think there's a call to them to really do what is right by their constitution.
Exactly, and I think it's a fine place to leave that discussion. And just to add, I think the Wike faction will be having their national convention March 20th and 29th. So that's another thing to look out for. Let's take weather reports now, and then we'd like to start from Ibadan. Weather this morning feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning is expected to rise to 28 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, around 1%, and in the afternoon we have 36 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, around 0%, and in the evening it drops to 28 degrees Celsius, mostly clear, around 5%, and overnight it drops further to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 8%, and that's what we have for Ibadan this morning.
And you need to add 3 degrees Celsius from Ibadan to Lagos. So have 27 degrees Celsius in Lagos State today, because the weather is fair across board at 27 degrees Celsius. And later in the morning, it rises to 29 degrees Celsius with 2 degrees Celsius increase. Of course, expected to be partly cloudy. And also in the afternoon, it rises much further to 32 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy as well. Then in the evening, it remains partly cloudy at 28 degrees Celsius. Then it remains the same overnight at 28 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy in Lagos State today. Okay,
let's cross over to Ilorin International Airport, Kwara, where feels like 23 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning is expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, sunny around 1%, in the afternoon 38 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%, and in the evening 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 1%, and overnight 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 7%, and that's what we have for Ilorin this morning.
Ilorin is not very far in terms of the weather today, with Ekiti southwest today, Ekiti State, because the weather averagely is at 23 degrees Celsius, expected to be cloudy all day. And then later in the morning, it will be around 27 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. And later in the afternoon, it moves right up to 35 degrees Celsius, such a whooping difference, expected to be partly cloudy. So it remains mostly cloudy in the evening at 26 degrees Celsius, because it drops much further overnight to 23 degrees Celsius. Expected to be cloudy as well in Ekiti today.
Okay, let's cross over to Obafemi Ogun this morning. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius and later is expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 4%. In the afternoon, I think we have an increase as well, 35 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny, around 15%. In the evening, 27 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 5%. And overnight, it drops to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 8%. And that's what we have for Ogun this morning.
It's almost the same again in Osogbo today because the weather is cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius across board. And later in the morning, it rises by 4 degrees Celsius up to 28 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. In the afternoon, it rises much further to 36 degrees Celsius and it's also expected to be partly cloudy as well. Then it drops significantly to 27 degrees Celsius in the evening and it's also expected to be partly cloudy. And overnight, it drops much further by 3 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius, expected to be cloudy in Osogbo today.
Okay, let's cross over to Port Harcourt Rivers this morning. The weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius and later is expected to rise to 27 degrees Celsius. Thunderstorms around 86%. That's massive. In the afternoon, we have 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 15%. And in the evening, we have 23 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 7%. And overnight, we have 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 19%. I think people in this area, must take care, especially the likes of Wike Fubara and of course Martin.
And moving from that region now to the largest state in the country, that's Niger State, Suleja particularly, because the weather is at 23 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. And later in the morning, it rises by 7 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly sunny in Niger State today. And afternoon, it rises much further by 8 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. And then it drops significantly by 10 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius in the evening, also expected to be mostly clear. And overnight, it drops much further by 4 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy in the largest state in the country, Nigeria, Niger State today.
Okay, let's take ABJ, Federal Capital Territory. This morning, weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius and later in the morning is expected to rise to 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. And in the afternoon, there's an increase. We have 37 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. In the evening, 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. And overnight, 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. And that's what we have for FCT this morning.
And from ABJ, like she said, to Kaduna today, because the weather in Kaduna feels like 20 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy across board. And later in the morning, it rises by 9 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. Expected to be very sunny today. And afternoon, it rises much further to 36 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy as well. And in the evening, it drops by 10 degrees Celsius, whooping to become partly cloudy. And overnight, it drops by 5 degrees Celsius again to 21 degrees Celsius, and the weather will become clear in Kaduna North today.
Okay, that's how far we can go with the weather reports this morning. Thank you for being a part of that segment. Do not forget to follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Dominion Broadcast, and of course on X at Dominion Cast. We take a short break now. When we come back, we take the news. Please stay with us.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anoluakpo Ido. President Bola Tinubu has expressed Nigeria's readiness to collaborate with African nations, global partners, and the private sector to deliver cleaner, affordable, inclusive, and more secure energy. The president stated at the opening ceremony of the 9th Nigeria International Energy Summit held at the State House Banquet Hall, Abuja, that energy plays a critical role as the invisible force holding the modern world together. Tinubu, who was represented at the summit by his deputy, Vice President Kashim Shettima, observed that while energy remains central to peace, prosperity, and global stability, Nigeria is focusing heavily on utilizing its vast gas reserves as a transition fuel and expanded renewable energy capacity. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it is intensifying efforts to curb illegal cannabis cultivation through an alternative development program designed to provide lawful and sustainable livelihoods for rural communities. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, NDLEA Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa, called for strong national backing for the initiative, describing it as the first of its kind on the African continent. Marwa explained that the program focuses on boosting rural economies through value chain development, promoting peace and social cohesion in crime-prone areas, encouraging food production and agricultural diversification, and easing pressure on law enforcement. The Senate has confirmed the appointment of Justice Joseph Oyewole as the Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria through a letter that was read on the floor by Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The confirmation followed the consideration of a report by the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, chaired by Senator Adeniyi Adegbomire, APC Ondo Central, urging the Senate to receive and adopt the committee's findings on the nomination of Justice Oyewole, a Justice of the Court of Appeal. In another development, the Senate has urged state governments and the Federal Capital Territory Administration to establish coordinated emergency referral and response systems linking public and private hospitals following growing concerns of avoidable death arising from poorly handled medical emergencies. And now in Oyo State, where Oyo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has officially opened and commissioned its newly built state secretariat, marking the significant milestone in the party's administrative growth and political organization within the state. Our correspondent, Damilola Daudu, has the details.
That was the official commissioning of the newly built party secretariat of the Oyo State People's Democratic Party, held at the Secretariat Complex Okeado, Ibadan. Speaking at the event, the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, described the completion of the new secretariat as a reflection of party strength, unity, and forward-looking leadership in the state, adding that the newly built party secretariat would be named after the former Oyo State PDP chairman Alhaji Omokumi Mustafa.
This house is going to be named Omokumi Mustafa House.
In their various goodwill messages, party leaders described the new secretariat as a symbol of stability, progress, and commitment to the democratic values. They noted that the facility will serve as a central hub for strategic planning, coordination, and effective service, delivering to party members across the state.
This is what we want in Oyo State, and we want a continuation of this.
There is no problem, there is green light under the tunnel, and it will come up one day. And the day, very shortly, PDP will be on the ballot paper in this Oyo State and in Nigeria.
The newly commissioned secretariat is equipped with solar power supply, modern office, and meeting spaces designed to enhance administrative efficiency and improve internal party operations. The ceremony gathered both national and state leaders, including Kabiru Taminu Turaki, former Kano State Governor Ibrahim Shekarau, and concluded with a tour of the facility by party leaders and invited guests. Damilola Daudu, reporting for Dominion News.
Meanwhile, reactions have continued to trail comments by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, who has declared a political war against his former ally and Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde. Our correspondent Taiwo Olanrewaju has more.
Nyesom Wike, who has declared a political war against his former ally and Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde. Speaking at a recent political gathering, Wike said he is now taking a keen interest in the affairs of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Oyo State. He accused Governor Makinde of actions capable of weakening the party and vowed to resist what he described as internal sabotage. The FCT minister warned that he would not allow what he termed internal vampires to destroy the PDP at the national level.
But I would not allow greedy and vampires who were not there, who were coming from me to take over the PDP.
Reacting to the development, the chairman of the PDP in Oyo State, Honorable Dayo Ugungberu, dismissed Wike's comment, describing them as typical of his political style. He said the state chapter of the PDP remains focused.
The former governor of Rivers State is known for his antics. Oh, it's no money. If he's now even declaring a war on our governor, that war is doomed to fail from inception. Because those who decide to reach the top will make destruction waiting for them. That is the law of karma. So we are not new to ex-Governor Wike's antics. So we are not going to be distracted with that.
Meanwhile, a political scientist, Dr. Stephen Lafenwa, says the development reflects deeper internal tensions within the PDP.
Both factions will lose if they cannot just come together and reconcile and work with the existing organ as recognized by INEC and government, by INEC, that is the BOT, to have a caretaker committee, members from both sides, and let them decide on where they are going to have their convention that will be recognized by INEC and other stakeholders.
As the political drama unfolds, observers say how the PDP leadership handles the disputes may have implications for party unity ahead of future elections. Taiwo Olanrewaju, reporting for Dominion News.
You're still watching Daybreak News on Dominion Television. And also business. The federal government has allocated 881.1 million naira for capital projects of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council (NEPC) in the 2026 appropriation bill, following a record $6.1 billion non-oil export performance in 2025. Data from the budget proposal submitted to the National Assembly showed that the funding will support institutional strengthening, export infrastructure, certification, market access, and value chain development across the 6 geopolitical zones. The allocation forms part of the proposed 58.47 trillion naira federal budget, reflecting a breakdown showing that 143.99 billion was allocated for the establishment of export clusters, aggregation centers, and hubs nationwide, while 133 million naira is earmarked for common facility centers and export skills acquisition centers in 4 geopolitical zones. And finally, in sport, head coach of Plateau United, Benga Ogobote, has expressed pride in his players following their hard-fought 2-1 away victory over 10-man Remo Stars in the 2025-2026 NPFL Matchday 24 fixture, which extended their unbeaten run to 5 matches. The former Sunshine Stars and the Imba tactician has now overseen 5 matches since assuming responsibility at Plateau United at the start of the second stanza of the 2024-2025 MPFL season. Ogumbote, whose early impact has already steadied the team as they push for a strong second-round campaign, has since proven his profound experience, having previously managed Sunshine Stars, Shooting Stars Sports Club, Eyimba International and Rangers International before his latest switch to Plateau United. And that's about it. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. And as Daybreak News, I'm Anu Oluwapo Ido. Thank you for watching.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event.
Nigerian naira has gained recently against the US dollars, and this seems like a development across the newsprint. Of course, naira gains against dollar closes at 1,372.91 to $1. It seems like, yes, eureka moment for Nigeria. But yes, every of those stories you'll find on the print will bring them to the table of discourse on this particular segment of newspaper headlines and analysis, where we check into the print, bring the stories that are making the rounds across the nation and make sense of some of them. You know, sometimes I say exfoliate some of them because they have covers, or we have to get into the subsurface so we can get the real deal of the stories. But I'm not doing this alone this morning. I have with me in the studio, joining me this morning, Ofino Eboselime Ignatius this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Anoluwapo Idowu.
I mean, it's such a beautiful time to be alive.
Yes, yes.
I think we're having a conversation right before now about the United States. But yes, let's get back to Nigeria. This is very important now. Naira is gaining. You know, but the question will be, well, it's a knee-jerk reaction and, you know, a no-brainer. That's what you want to ask. How does this reflect on the people? But let's take a few stories before we now start dissecting the stories. Now, Senate proposes new revenue formula to favor the federal government. That's on Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. We'll just go through some of the stories that are making the rounds. Meanwhile, Senate, on the other hand, still on Nigerian Tribune newspaper, has another story saying guessing game continues as Senate fails to pass Electoral Act at third promise. That is also a story to check out on Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. Senate is in the news. But yes, from that we move on to terrorism financing is still making the rounds. Federal government of Variance Malamin son on 5-count charge. Yes, this story broke yesterday and it's still breaking. And we are still following the developments as it unfolds much further. Of course, we tracked that story and many others. Now, PDP crisis is a big caption on Nigeria. Yes, as you can see on your screen right now, PDP crisis, Makinde fires another shot. We won't allow anyone to hold PDP down, he declares. Abdurrahman led camp fixes March 29th, 30 as new convention date. And party's management staff, Workers' Institute declare loyalty to Turaki-led National Working Committee. And that's about the PDP. But yes, so much to talk about them. But let's take some other stories now. On health, 4 in 10 cancer cases are preventable. And that's coming from the World Health Organization. 54% of Nigerian minors buy alcohol themselves. That's coming from NAFDAC as well. Today, we would ask the question, maybe we'll ask Ofino if he knows anywhere they do that. Perhaps we can curb it from there. But let's move on to Daily Trust newspaper for one of time. Very quickly, on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper is talking hospital, is talking medical. Now, hospital be worse than cancer, and that's coming from the patient. It's just one of the stories you find on Daily Trust newspaper, making the bold caption right there. Meanwhile, community residents are celebrating release of abducted bandits leader. What is story? But anyway, that's not of interest now because we have some other stories. ICPC detains ex-Nimasa boss Jamo, and NECO says 9,016 candidates engage in malpractice. That's whooping. That's a lot to consider. But anyway, drivers missing as Boko Haram intercept trucks in Borno. Not again, we say. Anyway, we hope they get to release them on time. Moving on from that now to Daily Sun newspaper, and that is of interest. And this is why. The front page reads, Vagabonds in PDP gone, says Engineer Seyi Makinde. That is about the party secretariat that they opened yesterday in Ibadan that we just brought out in the news, and they will still keep feeding you as it breaks much further. But it says, Vagabonds in PDP are gone, says Makinde, says they have been expelled. Wiki camp dissolves, Northwest, Southwest Escorts. That's another, as you speak here, another person is speaking at another, faction, and it's all a story for the interest of many people. Now, 10.6 million Nigerians hooked on drugs, and that's coming from Marwa. Say customs arrests 8 suspects with hard drugs, others worth 3.319 billion naira. That's a lot of money. Now, Tinubu has come out to say Nigeria will not reverse economic reforms. Tinubu tells World Bank. Yes, that is also something to look out for. President promising that, yes, we will not reverse economic reforms, but now we need to take the stories and make sense of some of this clogged together, layered structure and strata of stories. Now, I'm thinking we should start from the Nigerian era. How does this reflect really, especially with this administration and past administration?
When you are talking about a country's currency, you are talking about the means of exchange, medium of exchange. But when you look at money, money serves as a medium of exchange. When you want to buy goods or you want to pay for a service, money becomes the medium of exchange. There was a time in this country, the naira had value more than the dollar. But we got it wrong during the days of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, when they decided to go and borrow money, the IMF loan, that is popularly called the killer loan. You know what? The stringent condition? They are going to give you 10 years moratorium for 10 years. They will not ask you to devalue your currency. They say Nigerian currency was too strong, that before they can issue that loan to us, we have to devalue the currency. That was how it started. They were devaluing our currency. Till date, Nigerian currency, the naira, keeps falling and falling and falling. Is that logical? You want to borrow money from a creditor, and the creditor is telling you that your own currency is too strong and powerful, that before he can borrow you that money or lend you that money, you have to devalue your currency. So if there is a devaluation of the naira today, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, IBB, should be held responsible.
Now let's come to the government of the day.
I remembered in 2023 when Major General Muhammadu Buhari handed over power. The exchange rate was what? 460 to $1. 460 naira to $1. But when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over power, he believed that that is the time for us to do what we call unification of the foreign exchange. You know, then we used to have bureau de exchange, bureau de change. So we have what we call parallel market. In the capital market, there was what we call the parallel market. In the money market, exchange rate. So he now said there was the time for us to have what we call unification of what? Of the exchange rate. It was a laudable idea. But at the end of the day, because of the removal of the oil subsidy, that was what triggered what we call rising inflation. And now today, the naira, for now, has lost its value. There was a time the naira, the exchange rate for the naira was almost getting to 2,000 naira to $1. But for now, if it is now appreciating 1,300 plus to $1, at least we have to commend the government for that of the day, that it is really appreciating, because there was a time almost 2,000 naira was equivalent to $1.
Okay, so let's put it in context now. Do you have the trust that this administration is able to bring it down to what it was before?
It will be very difficult.
But is it possible?
There is nothing that is not possible. It can only be possible if Nigeria is a producer nation. We develop the manufacturing sector. There is stable power supply. Then there is what we call free flow of capital. We are talking about liquidity in the economy. And there is what we call foreign direct investment. The job of the CBN governor is three. One, is in charge of determining what? The interest rate on commercial loan. Two, you have to control inflation. Three, foreign exchange stability. Because there is what we call volatility in the exchange rate. It keeps changing and changing and changing. But if you want your currency to be stable, the only way you can do about it is this: you must be an exporting country. You must produce capital goods and export. Then you make more money. Your currency becomes more stable. But now those who are having what we call unstable currency or weak currency, some of them are trying to partner with BRICS so that they can be using their own local currency to trade. But you can see it poses a threat to the American dollar. That is why you see my friend President Donald Trump looking for all means to instigate what we call trade war.
All right, let's come down to another story that is of interest in Oyo State, but maybe not Oyo, maybe Oyo and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. There's been the crisis, the PDP crisis, the weakness that they are showing us, and the structural configuration of the party, and it's begging a lot of questions. But now, yesterday, Makinde spoke out, and the governor said he fired another shot. He said he would not allow someone to hold PDP to ransom just for the other party, the APC, to do well. So Wike also fired back from where he was. So, but I need you to just help me make sense of this. What do you think is likely to happen, or what is the way forward for the PDP and their internal crisis to be resolved?
I am not the PDP spokesman, and I cannot speak in proxy for any of the faction. It's just unfortunate. A party that once ruled Nigeria for 16 years, a party that was adjudged to be the biggest party in Africa, they cannot play the role of the opposition. We need a formidable ruling party. We also need a strong opposition party. But in the area of opposition, playing the role of the opposition, PDP has disappointed Nigerians. And I wouldn't know if posterity will forgive those who actually destroyed PDP. Now, Engineer Seyi Makinde, in his own right, is addressing someone a vagabond. He was also a member of the G5. How does he explain that?
He mentioned it.
He was a member of the G5. There is no excuse he can give to me for betraying his party, for working against his presidential candidate. He would have become more honorable if he has defected from PDP and joined APC then and worked for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No problem. But you are in your own party and there is a presidential candidate. Can he be trusted? You have to play politics of civility and moral conscience. Can Engineer Seyi Makinde himself be trusted? We have to be frank and sincere to ourselves. He has betrayed his party. The record is there. He cannot change it. Whether you call someone a vagabond, they will also reply you the same way. Whatever you call them, when you call them a vagabond, those people you are calling a vagabond, they will also give you the same response. Whatever you give, they also give you the same response because you have also indicted yourself.
Sorry, Ofino, what do you... I want to get your point straight. Do you mean that calling Wike or the other faction a vagabond is the wrong statement, or what he claimed that they are doing, which one is wrong?
You know, whether it is derogatory or not, is the game of power. For now, all of them, they are no longer men of character.
Yes, on Wike too.
Yes, on Wike, Engineer Seyi Makinde, they are no longer men of character. No, you are washing their dirty linen. There is one thing I like about APC. I'm not campaigning for them. I'm not a politician. They know how to resolve their internal crisis. Who says there was no crisis in APC? There is crisis in APC. They used to have a national chairman that fall out in favor with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. When he now discovered that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has now been sworn in as the president, after some few months, do you know what he did? He tendered resignation, what? Honorably. So the PDP national chairman that came from Benue, that was there, he was supposed to have tendered resignation or step down when Wike was agitating that we cannot have a presidential candidate from the north and also have a national chairman from the north. The man, did he agree with Wike? No, I'm just trying to explain to you. So when we are talking about the principle of zoning, there is a way it is being done. Politics is a game of power, but there are two factors that are very germane when it comes to the game of power. One, popularity of the candidate. Two, acceptability. That is so germane. It must never be compromised. But when you have reached a gentleman agreement that there should be a zoning, do you know what changed everything? It's the death of Yaradua that changed all the political arrangement for PDP. Assuming Yaradua was still alive, he would have ruled Nigeria for two terms. Centralist party. But Nigeria would be at risk of running a one-party state. You know, now we are accusing APC of trying to run a one-party state. If not for the death of Yaradua, Nigeria risk running a one-party state under PDP. May the soul of Umaru Musa Yaradua rest in perfect peace. So there are issues on ground. The problem with PDP again is the issue of what we call greed and ego. None of them want to step down for the other. Are they actually working for the interests of the people? No, they are working for their own personal interests. What they stand to gain, not what the overall people start to gain.
Let's look at it from that direction. You've mentioned, and I'll pick it up from where you said the people, right? So looking at this now, what can they do to help the people? I mean, the people who are partisan, who are following the PDP, what can they do moving forward? 2027 is just around the corner.
Most of their governors have left, but there is one thing Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu must know. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR, had 32 governors with him. if you remember, in 2015. 32 governors, and at the end of the day, he lost that election. So when you are seeing Tinubu say, we are having more governors to us now, at least he has 28 governors, he should also be very careful. He should learn from Jonathan. The game of power, the third force are the people. Politicians are no longer the third force. A new political party are no longer the third force. The people should be the third force. The people are in the best position to decide who and who will govern them, because politicians are the same. But those in ADC today, most of them were in APC. Most of them were in what? In PDP. Now they are finding themselves in ADC. Can you change the color and the skin of a tiger? It's not possible. So we are having politicians today who are defecting from one political party to the other. If it is the APC that is ruling, I will defect to go and chop my own. If APC is no longer ruling, it is now ADC. You now leave APC, go to ADC. Like someone that is clueless without moral direction. So we need people that are what? Firm in every decision. People that have what we call personal principle and philosophy. If I want to be a progressive, be a progressive. There is nothing wrong about it. If I want to be a conservative, be a conservative. There is nothing wrong about it. If you want to be a capitalist, be a capitalist. There is nothing wrong about it. And if you want to be a socialist, be a socialist. But this issue of today I'm a socialist, tomorrow I'm a capitalist, today I'm a progressive, tomorrow I'm a member of the conservative, it does not speak well of you as someone who can best be described as man having character and principle.
Ofino, let's advance this conversation just a bit. There's a report from NESG, and they said that tax reforms have spiked business costs and stalled Nigeria's January expansion. So from the projection of things, tax reforms policy that became enacted or became something to like a working document in the country on January 1, 2026. There's been a lot of projections. Some are saying, what would be the case of this? Will it affect people? Will it not affect people? When NESG has come out with a report to say that it has now spiked business costs and stalled Nigeria's January expansion. But I know you're an economist, and I want you to really wade into this issue very quickly. Looking into the future of this nation, especially with the new tax reform law, what do you think will happen to businesses across the country?
If the cost of production is high, the tendency is there for businesses to close shop. The cost of production will determine the selling price. And every business firm aim to break even. Even if you are not making the normal profit, you must ensure you do what? You break even. So when we are talking about the factors of production, we are talking about land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. And now the cost of production is very high. Why is it high? Because of rising inflation. Do we have a stable economy? We don't have a stable economy. Do we have a stable currency? We don't have a stable currency. Today, the naira will appreciate. The next day, it depreciates. That is not. So when we are talking about the tax reform act now, that has now become a working document for government. There is one thing I've discovered about this government. They want to generate revenue at all costs and by all means, not even concerning the welfare of the people.
But they also have to make money to spend money.
At the expense of the people. Does it make sense you are making money? The members of your family, they are demeaning. Does it make sense? You are making money, generating revenue, but has it translated in the life of the ordinary Nigerian? Have you created more jobs? When you make money, you should create more jobs by establishing what? Industries. Building more firms, micro, small scale, and cottage industries, enterprises. That is how it should be done. But in this country, there is nothing like that. Where is the manufacturing sector?
But have you listened to the budget office chief officer and some other persons in the business or the commerce sector of this economy, of this present administration, I mean to say? Have you listened to what they say, especially about their reforms, their policies, and how it's affecting people in the country?
It's more of rhetorics. I wouldn't know the school of economics where they belong, their own school of thought. That has been the problem. They belong to a school of thought in economics that is not well defined. There are different schools of thought in economics. We have the classical school of thought. We have the neoclassical school of thought. We have the Keynesian school of thought. We have what we call the post-Keynesian school of thought. Capitalism is good. Socialism is also good. Mixed economy is good. Capitalism plus welfareism is also good. But the way you handle it, what must be paramount in your mind is the welfare of the people you govern. That is what we are saying. When you are talking about capital infrastructure for this government, you have to celebrate them. They have awarded a lot of capital projects. Fine. But Nigerians are still hungry. Rising food inflation. That is the problem. Have they invested in the agricultural sector? Agricultural sector precedes industrial sector. You have to develop the agricultural sector first before you now decide on developing the industrial sector. When you are talking about the industrial sector, you are talking about what? The manufacturing sector. And agricultural sector and the manufacturing sector, they are the real sector of the economy. What we are having today is more of service delivery. The service sector is thriving. Example of the service sector is the media industry. It's the media industry. But when you are talking about the real sector of the economy, you are talking more about the agricultural sector and the manufacturing sector. How many industries do we have in this country that are producing goods?
All right. Maybe the president said something. It was at the World Bank conference recently, and then he said Nigeria would not reverse economic reforms. Maybe that's a response to you. But of course, that's how much we would take this morning. Thank you very much for joining us, Efino Eboseli Immigration this morning. We'll now switch focus to the big story with Oluwayemi Adelakun after this break. Stay with us. Don't go nowhere.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Power concedes Norton without a demand. These are the words of Frederick Douglass. Good morning and welcome. This is a big story, and I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. In Rivers State today, the question is no longer about peace alone. It is about who controls power, who defines loyalty, and who truly governs. President Bola Tinubu has stepped in once again to halt the political inferno between governors in Alai Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike. A feud that has paralyzed governance, threatened impeachment, and once plunged the oil-rich state into emergency rule. But this intervention raises a troubling question. Is this a genuine peace process or a strategic power play designed to secure political dominance ahead of 2027? When a sitting governor is told who his political leader must be, when party authority is dictated from Abuja, and when stability comes with conditions that redefine democratic independence, then we must ask, is this conflict resolution or political control? Joining me to interrogate this complex and combustible issue is Sam Woko, a deputy editor with Nigerian Tribune. This is peace or power play, Tinubu's intervention and the politics of control in Rivers State. Welcome this morning.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers. Good to be here.
Definitely. So let's start this way. Why do you think this particular conflict is a little bit different from past godfather-successor disputes? In the last 3 years, we've seen impeachment, legislative paralysis, and we are also seeing an impeachment process now. And then reports has it that it was altered by the president. What do you make of this case? Why is it so different?
Thanks for that insight. I think for me, the main reason why the conflict in Rivers State, the confusion in Rivers State, the brouhaha, the political confusion in Rivers State, the main reason why it is different is because it is not a place where godfatherism thrives. And the introduction of godfatherism by someone who himself fought godfatherism to a standstill, and who pronounced several times that he would not encourage godfatherism, is the person now standing as a godfather himself. So he has to face strong resistance, and that is why it is different there. In some places, you will hear political leaders in that place make comments, come together, say certain things. You see them in political spaces making comments, adjudicating in matters and so on. But in Rivers State, you don't have it. When Odili left and went away. When Rotimi Amechi left, he left and went away because it was Wike that took over from him. So it is Wike that has now come and become a thorn in the flesh of both the party and the people in that state, on the one hand. On the other hand, when you think back to the era of people like Chief Ada George, not many people remember that a governor was in that state called Ada George, you know, a whole lot of people.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that the political leaders there come, they go. You know, play your role, go. Another person takes over, plays his roles, goes. Another person takes over, and so on. But Wike has come and is trying to bring some alien things, alien concepts into the state, and that is the thing the state does not understand, and it's becoming a whole lot of issue for them. Some have said it is importing the Lagos type of godfatherism into Rivers State, and that it may backfire big time. So that's why it is different. Okay,
so do you think it's because some persons are arguing that it's because Fubara is not a core politician, or was not a core politician before he became governor, and is not so strong politically?
It's also a factor. It's a factor. The fact that he was not into mainstream politics, but we cannot rule out the fact that he had worked with this same Wike, who has become his albatross now, or vice versa, because they are both albatrosses to themselves. He has worked with him. He has learned lessons. People have forgotten that the EFCC came after this Wike, and it was people like Fubara that stood and blocked him, you know, during the time, and so on and so forth. So he should, as a good student, he should have learned some things in the 8 years with which he played some prominent roles in the government of Wike. And beyond that too, he should also have built his own little political base, whether you want to agree with it or not. So as it is now, we still have a situation in which you have somebody who is noisier, who is more voluminous, let me use that word, who makes the more noise, who creates more bubbles, is the one we are seeing. Whereas Fubara acts as if he knows nothing that is going on. But hey, in Rivers State, when you get to Rivers State, it's a completely different ball game entirely.
Okay, now, so let's go back to that piece that the president initiated the first time this whole thing happened. You know, some persons have argued it was a fragile peace. Now the president has stepped in again. Let me do a little comparison. When the First World War happened, you know, after the Old Versailles Peace Treaty, especially, you know, Germany as a country felt cheated, and then they referred to the peace as a dictated peace. And that was what led or prepared the foundation for the Second World War, because it was not a total peace. This new peace now that the president has initiated, can it solve the problem?
No, it can't. Because it's just like the diktats which happened in in fact, it's actually shortly after the war in 45, diktat started, you know, processes towards it. But, you know, let's leave diktat now. Now, what is going on in Rivers State is a situation in which I have come to see as the president or the powers that be at Abuja trying to use the two political centers in Rivers State to create a balance for himself. You know, you cannot dictate how peace should be. You know, a peace is not a dictate of somebody.
Okay.
Even if it's in the home. If you beat a child with the left hand, you use with the right hand, you use the left hand to draw him close and say, you shouldn't have done that. You have to find a way to create a level where the two have to agree at certain things. All I'm trying to say is this. When you created the first peace scenario, people thought, okay, this is an end to the whole issue. But at the end of the day, when matters filtered out and people began to hear what happened, transpired in Abuja, people said, no, this shouldn't be. You know, when he got back home, people of the states refused and said, look, no, we cannot take this and so on. So it didn't end because the man who is after him is not relenting. And all those things, by this time next year, I'm sure would have, in fact, by this time in August, September, all those things would have had a head. But the peace dictated, the peace prescribed, the peace brokered by the president is a diktat completely. It's just like saying, hey, you go and sit down. This is your political leader. Let him do the work for us while you reign as the governor. And it can't work because the man we are talking about, Wike we are talking about, is not a member of the APC. This governor has defected into your party. So will Wike come to your National Executive Council meeting? Will he come to your APC meetings and so on and take decisions? And then when Fubara, who has defected, goes to those meetings and comes back with decisions and so on, he will now go and report to a PDP leader. If Wike remains, he will be called a member of the PDP. So it's a kind of, I mean, the arrangement is warped. The arrangement is confusing. It has no basis at all. So the president is not handling this issue well. I don't think he is. But what he has in focus is getting votes for himself in 2027. And that is the entire thing he's trying to do. It doesn't matter how Wike handles it. It doesn't matter how Fubara handles it. So long as I get votes, that's it for me. But Wike is fighting for his political life. Let's remember that.
Okay.
Because if anything happens to him now, I'm sure he will quietly leave this country and nobody will hear of him again. And same thing with Fubara, who is trying the best he can to ensure that he gets another ticket and sees, because he hasn't ruled in the last 3 years or thereabouts. So everybody is fighting for their political lives, but somebody is at an advantage. Like the Japanese will say, they say a man who is talking to a lady on a hill, they are not on the same level. So somebody is definitely on the hill, some other people are down the hill.
Okay, there was a time Wike said there's no PDP, no APC in Rivers State.
Yes.
How can you interpret that?
Well, that is exactly where the confusion begins from. Now, he says it's a rainbow coalition and things like that. Well, whatever rainbow coalition he's trying to build, you should remember that there is also another party called the ADC. People may think the ADC has nothing to do, we've not been hearing about them and so on and so forth. The people themselves who have the right to decide who they want to vote for are even watching. You know, we may say, yes, it doesn't, our votes, no. It goes beyond that. Votes will count and so on. You may create all that you want to do. And I'm sure that people are guarding against the kind of things that happened in 2023. So if he's talking about a rainbow coalition, it has to be anchored on something. So what is that coalition anchored on? If there is no APC, if there is no PDP or ADC or any political party whatsoever, all we just want to do is vote for Tinubu. Is he saying it as a party leader, or he's saying it as a political leader, or as an economic leader, or as a minister, or as a governor? So what we know and what the party has said is the governor is the leader of the APC in Rivers State. But you have fought to get yourself to be declared the leader of the party in Rivers State, creating another level, another layer, and another specter of confusion. So by the time all this, because they are going to drag this till the primaries, and so on and so forth. So that coalition, what if others rise up between now and that period? Because people will get tired of all the shenanigans, and people are going to revolt. Because after all, it is the people who would decide.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole party thing now, because I recall there was a time that the Rivers State party chairman declared that Fubara is the leader of the party. But now that the president stepped in, report has it that, the president now informed Fubara to accept Wike as the party leader. Is that not an aberration?
The confusion is this. Is Wike a member of the APC? He has not declared for the APC. Yes, we know he is working for the president, who happens to be APC. So until Wike comes out to say he is APC, then the president himself is not helping this matter. That's just the way I look at it. Wike has not declared for APC. We cannot claim that Wike is a member of the APC. He is not a card-carrying member of the APC.
He was even expelled recently.
And now he has been expelled from the PDP. He still, whether he agrees with it or not, he still has that to contend with. So how will he, out of nowhere, be a leader of the APC when they have a governor, they have a party chairman, they have leaders of the party, both nationally and so on and so forth. So for the president to have said that from the reports we read and from some of the things that are filtering in, then it means that this confusion has only just begun. And it doesn't end where he thinks it has ended. Because Rivers State is not a place where you dictate to people just like that. I remember, in fact, growing up, we learned Port Harcourt is a leveler. They say Port Harcourt is a leveler, and I saw an example. One day, Adokie Ame Semaka, who used to be a national hero in football, won the Nations Cup for Nigeria and so on. He used to play with Segun Odegbami. His vehicle fell into a ditch. So people ran to help him. They didn't know he was the one. You know. So I had seen him from afar. I said, that's Adokie. So those boys that went to help to bring out the vehicle now told him to give them something, because when they pushed the vehicle out, he would go.
Okay.
I think he refused. He didn't even want to come down, because that would mean him stepping into the water.
Okay.
So they now say, wait till they worry you. So I was shouting from my father, that's Adokie. They say, now Adokie, they carry me. That was the question they asked me. Who is he? If you make it there now and so on. So that day, the saying that Port Harcourt is a leveler came back. They didn't even look at his face at all. So that still happens in Rivers State.
Okay.
Forget the fact that Wike, the kind of person he is a man about the streets and so on. There are still so many other people who don't agree with his style. And I don't think it's going to be in favor of APC at the end of the day.
Okay. Do you think the game will change after the presidential election? And let's just assume the president wins. Because it appears a lot of persons, you need to check online. Some people are saying it's looking like impeachment process is now a threat. They are using impeachment to threaten Fubara to accept certain things.
You see, that impeachment is a dangling sword. That one is there. It's dictating a lot of things in the camp of Fubara, whether it is a merited impeachment or not, because as we speak today, that impeachment is under a kind of perpetual suspension because of what the courts said.
Okay.
The courts in Oyibo and other places. You know, that's on the one hand. On the other hand, which is the second leg of your question, if there will be a change, a shift in the dynamics of Rivers State, it won't even get to next year.
Okay.
Before the dynamics shift, before those changes will take place. It won't. I have been saying this since last year, and it will get to a point when people will take it no more. And politically, they are going to speak. Because there are other people working quietly in Rivers State who are not making noise. Now, this same Wike, who has been given the responsibility of, that's if it turns out to be, this same Wike, who has been told to go and lead the party in Rivers State, has said he's interested in Oyo State. And he's interested in many other states too. So, how many houses would his dog guard? You know, like the Yoruba will say, a dog will not be so fierce that it will guard two houses at the same time. So, I don't see him running this race, because it's a marathon. I don't see him running this race at this same pace and at this same stride till 2027. I don't see that happening. And there's going to be a lot of dynamics, a lot of changes in Rivers State and in other states in months to come.
Okay, this is a sharp one now. Fubara moving to APC, is it a wrong move?
To save his political life, it is not a wrong move.
But will it guarantee him the second
time? But now
time?
it has not guaranteed him his second time, because he is dealing with a very tough opponent. However, in politics, you can't rule out anything. When the chiefs are down, he's still the governor of the state. He can do and undo. You have declared a state of emergency in that state. So I don't think he has anything to fear anymore. It will get to a point. If you remember, this same Fubara spoke in anger at some point and said, look, he doesn't even want to be the governor anymore. If you remember that, he said, I'm done. Let them, you know. So he could as well do that. And he would, at that time, he will become a bull in a China shop. So look at all those scenarios. He can turn out to be a bull in China shop. The worst you will do is you arrest him and detain him. And when you detain him, because by then he would have stopped. As a governor now, you can't arrest him. So he can do whatever he has within his powers to do. The little he can do as a governor, he can do it. Because one of the things that are still keeping him, his arms clipped, is the fact that he's watching what is happening from Abuja. You know. So when it gets to the point where he has to take a decision, I'm sure he's going to take a decision. And that will change the dynamics. So that's what I believe.
Okay, does he have the capacity to win the next election? Should they even give him the ticket?
If they give him the ticket, he hasn't got the personal capacity to win the election. But that time, if he has the ticket, the capacity will come. You know, like in Christianity, you should come as you are. You are not supposed to be perfect.
Okay.
You know, grace makes you perfect. So grace, in this case, is that ticket. Once he has it, everything will fall in line. In politics, that's what it's going to be. Because if he gets that ticket, he would have defeated Wike. Because Wike cannot campaign against the APC, which ticket Fubara has.
Okay.
So if he fights and battles and gets the ticket, then he has defeated Wike because Wike cannot campaign against him. That's the way it is. And the capacity now, as an individual, he hasn't got it, not because it will not come, but because he has been running with foxes. He has been running with very dangerous animals. So he has to tread carefully. And there are other factors which will also help him get the ticket, apart from the Wike factor.
Okay.
Wike is not the all in all, be all in the APC.
But the president is so interested in him.
So if the president is interested in him, the president is also in dilemma. If the president says, okay, somebody else will win this ticket, then there will be confusion in that state. So that's why I said earlier that the confusion has just begun. So they have to handle Fubara himself with a lot of tact, you know, and the best thing for them is to let him run the second term and ignore what Wike's sentiments are towards him. If they raise anybody, Amehule has done everything in his powers to ensure that they push. If we want to impeach Fubara, what is the offense of Ngozi Odu? The deputy.
I mean, the claim of the House of Assembly is they are working together.
So
they need to go
gross, you have to list the gross misconduct of this one and list the gross misconduct of the other one. So the confusion remains. And people are forgetting that there are other political centers in that state too, who have been quiet. You know, there are a lot of them. Forget Amechi even. Forget Sir Peter Odili.
Okay.
Those ones too are there. But there are other political centers who will damn the consequences and rise in defense of their state.
Who don't like Wike?
Who don't like what is going on. It may not necessarily be Wike, but how Wike is carrying on with this matter. Wike is not the only one dictating what goes on in Rivers State.
Well, he's louder.
Well, he's louder. And like I admitted, he's haughty, he does everything, and he has his hand in so many pies. Remember, this Wike is still a minister, serving in the government. So, like I said, by the middle of this year, the dynamics will have changed. And hopefully, by the grace of God, we'll come here to discuss the change in the dynamics.
You mentioned something very important, and that's what happened recently between Wike and, of course, Makinde. As one way or the other, we can still connect it to this issue, because some persons are saying because PDP cannot tame Wike, you know, it has caused more political tension for the country, not just in Rivers or in Oyo State, because Wike said something. I am interested in whatever is going on in Oyo PDP.
I'm interested in Oyo State, and he said he's interested in Oyo State and he wants to leave it at that. Everybody knows what Wike does when he says things like this one now is because he's even speaking. He spoke about Oshun when Ajibola Bashiru challenged him.
Okay.
He said he didn't know what we did and so on and so forth. So that kind of loose cannon is not, I mean, he's out of control, so to say. And by June, July, I'm sure things would have changed. I don't know what it's going to be, but there would be changes. Now, coming down to how he has spoken about Oyo, don't forget that the gentility, quote and unquote, of Fubara is not timidity. He is being reined in by certain factors. And Fubara, whether we want to agree or not, is a governor. He is sworn in, he's a governor. He would have people who include governors who are sympathetic to his cause. and who are watching. He will have people who are strong enough in certain areas, who don't agree with what Wike is doing, who would come and rise in his defense. Now, Wike has said he's interested in what is going on in Oyo State. Oyo State is not daft. So daft as not to leave some intelligence marks to know what this man is bringing into the state. He couldn't have done worse than what he is doing already in PDP.
Okay.
He can't. Of course, he cannot declare PDP. He has no other. I mean, there's nothing more you can do other than to cause confusion and try to break the party, which we are doing with all that is within him and with, the powers behind him. Because Wike alone Wike alone cannot do all these things. He has powers who are pushing him to do this kind of thing. These things he is doing. So he is causing confusion in Rivers State, and is now openly boasting that he is coming to cause the same kind of confusion in Oyo State. Because that's what we are going to infer it to be. And what it means is that whoever Makinde is going to support to emerge as the next candidate or the governor of the state, he will scuttle it. He can't do more than that. And after that, in 2027, when the elections will take place, what happens of Wike? What becomes of Wike? So the kind of history he has written for himself, are those the ones, the kind of things he's going to be bandying about? Or he has decided to end his political career in this political cycle. So Oyo State will be lying in wait for him, and this may be his albatross, because this is a place where politics is played at its pristine level. This is a place where the game is different from what is there. I will call him music. I don't know how to.
Okay, I think I get you now. Let me come in this way. There are similarities between Makinde and Fubara. They are both, looking at their personality, they are both calm. I mean, they don't just speak anyhow. But then let's look at it this way, because a lot of persons, even Wike himself, there was a time he said Makinde might be gentle, but then do not get carried away with his calmness. So do you think Makinde can withstand whatever Wike is planning for your state?
The good thing about it all is that Wike is a minister, an appointee. If there is a cabinet reshuffle today and he is affected, let me use the word affected, he no longer has any relevance, no standpoint. He will become, you won't refer to him as minister. He will say he's former governor. That's the best you can do. And Makinde is still the governor of Oyo State until 2027. And Makinde is not seeking, he has said he's not seeking any election. So he has the time to sit down and plan and leave his eyes open and watch what this man is bringing to his state. One of the good things is that he has declared this war on Oyo State.
Exactly.
And he has declared an open war against Makinde. And another good thing, Makinde is a very calculative person. Wike himself recognized the fact that Makinde is deadly. By deadly, I don't mean. I mean he's
strategic.
He's very strategic. Thank you. He's a good marksman in politics. So he recognizes that. So is he going to play the game of Makinde along with the game of Fubara, which he is playing now? Something has to give.
He appears tough. You don't think he can do it?
He appears tough. When I worked in Rivers State as a correspondent, I know the limit of Wike. We know those areas he can't touch. There were people who were tougher than him, who are still tougher than him. There are people I'm trying to remember his name now. There's a senator that once spoke.
Okay.
He didn't respond to him. Wike did not. Mbata.
Okay.
He didn't respond to him. Mbata said, So there are people he still. When Wike was younger, quote and unquote, in politics, there were people, even in Port Harcourt, the PHC, they call it Farga. There were people in his Obiakpo people in Nemo, and some other local governments. Ikwere has 4 local governments. Ikwere local government. Yes, Ikwere, where Abeji comes from. Obiakpo, where Wike comes from. Emoha, where we have people like Sergeant Awuse, Azubike Merokeni, Lemchuku Obowu, and Ikwere, Emoha, Obiakpo, and PHC, Port Harcourt City. Those 4 local governments. In those 4 local governments, Wike only strong for one, which is Obiakpo. There are people who are stronger than him in the other local governments.
He didn't even go to Obiakpo the last time he went there for, I think it was a rally.
What I'm trying to say is that there are people there who can stand up to him, but they are just watching. They are watching. That's why I'm saying he is not the only person who will determine what happens in the entire River State. Who will he be? Okay, now, you cannot go and dictate what will happen in Ogoniland. There are 4 local governments there too. There is Kana, there is Gokana, there is Tai. Yes, 3, and Eleme. Kana, Gokana, Tai, Eleme. Wike cannot go to those places and say, oh yeah, this is what we are going to do. People will stand up and say no. You know, same thing with places, the riverine, Opobo, Andoni, Brass. No, Brass is in Bayelsa. Bonny, Opobo, Andoni, Bonny, with the inside water, those areas. He cannot go there and dictate for them also. But he has to negotiate.
I get you. But before we go, don't you think the fact that Wike's faction of the PDP has been recognized as against that of Turaki, that can give him the upper hand?
No. Is he still a member of the PDP? As far as I'm concerned, no. But why the recognition? The matter is still at appeal.
Okay.
And Turaki and all the others in his ESCO are still functioning because there is a stay of execution and there is also an appeal. So until an appeal is decided, you cannot say that what that... because for me, I'm not a lawyer, but there have been similar matters before just the last judgment.
Okay.
So why is that one different? That's the question one will ask. So, like I'm trying to say, Wike is not the only one who is going to decide what happens. And he's not going to decide when the chips are down. He's not going to be the one to dictate. He's not even going to be the one to dictate for the president, because at the end of the day, the president will also listen to some of his advisors and say, look, enough is enough. And when push gets to a shove, I'm not sure Wike will continue the way he is going.
I think that's a very good place to leave this conversation this morning, because, we've talked about quite a number of things. And just like you said, we'll come back to discuss this matter, especially after the next elections. Democracy is not just about elections. It is about who holds power, how it is exercised, and in whose interest. Today's conversation makes one thing clear. Rivers State is not just battling a political feud. It is confronting a deeper struggle for authority, loyalty, and the soul of democratic governance. President Tinubu's intervention may have paused impeachment threat, but it has also exposed the fragile balance between peace and political dominance, between elder statesmanship and democratic autonomy. As Nigeria moves closer to 2027, Rivers State stands as a warning that stability imposed without consensus may quiet the noise, but it does not silence the questions. The big question remains, can peace built on political submission truly last? My thanks to Samoko this morning, Deputy Editor of Nigerian Tribune, for his insight and analysis. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. This has been The Big Story. Thank you for being a part of this segment. We take a short break now, and when we come back, we move on to Trend Watch. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Trend Watch, and of course, I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me Anula Poitou, and together we'll make sense of what is trending politically. Please go ahead.
Yes, of course. Yeah, let me first reflect on the conversation. I think it's something to still keep having, the one you've just had. But yes, the U.S. has, come out to say publicly that it has dispatched a small team of military officers to Nigeria. The general in charge of the U.S. Africa Command, General Dagvin R.M. Anderson, he said the move followed his meeting with Nigeria's president in Rome last year. And of course, this is not even new because we've had several bilateral arrangements with the United States, particularly after there was a time when they sent, machineries and all of this equipment, maybe war fighting equipment and all of those military equipment to Nigeria. So that's off the heels of the conversation of the U.S. being interested, at the point calling Nigeria a place of peculiar, interest, let's put it that way. And of course that, that's become the issue. A lot of people are saying that, at first it was all about, we hope you still recognize Nigeria as a sovereign nation and not just let it be a partnership, let it be a collaboration. This is now a collaboration. But many persons are still afraid. In fact, some persons were scared in some part of the country yesterday that there were area surveillance, that they could see or hear movement. But of course, there has been a notice concerning that is just not, that's not in any invasion in any sort of way. It's just one of those things that they are trying to do. But yeah, exactly, the case is, they've sent troops. Some are asking the question, what kind of troops have you sent? Because, of course, if you check countries or places where they are troubled, or, that there's an insurgency or some kind of thing, you can tell that it depends. If the U.S. sent a kind of military troop to that place, you can tell that this might be like a war kind of zone situation, but it is not, because according to the details of the information we have, they said it was just a small group, maybe to help in intelligence gathering, to help in how to go about the logistics and all of those strategic applications of maybe war and all of that. But yes, on the insurgent or the insurgent region, as it were. So it's exactly not against the people, but this is just to allay the fears of people. But yes, this is what we have, U.S. helping Nigeria, collaborating.
It's a good development, and of course, I think the nation is dividing now. Just like you mentioned, some persons are afraid to say that, okay, there's something called territorial integrity, we must not compromise that regardless. We want to take help from the United States. And there are other people who are alongside Trump. I mean, they have the same ideology. Trump is Machiavellian in nature, in his approach. And then he doesn't care, whatever it is he can do to make America great, Trump would definitely go for that. So some Nigerians are also saying, whatever it is that will help us solve insurgency, terrorism, let's go for it. But then we must also be careful. I say this all the time. You know, it's good to take OBJ said something some months ago. He said, while he was president, the United States cannot try certain things. I mean, that's something to look at, I mean, properly. But then that's not the matter we are discussing. I just said that for you to understand certain things. At the end of the day, let me give an instance. If somebody is sponsoring one aspect of your life, or maybe several aspects of your life, and it's not once, it's not twice, if care is not taken, you might build some certain loyalty, or then you might be feel so indebted to that person that it becomes difficult for you to think critically certain times, because it happens to a lot of persons. So it's good to take help. We cannot do it alone at the end of the day. I mean, it's apparent that we cannot do it alone. We should take help, but at the same time, we must make sure that, you know, we make good use of it. Really, I think that's what we should do.
Let me speak to the issue of, you know, some people have been saying that, why is it now that we need to, or we require U.S. assistance or international or foreign assistance? You know, that's been a conversation. But let's put it this way. Some have even blamed the APC government that, oh, you guys have been in charge of this. You guys caused this whole issue. But we can also trace it back that we've been in this insurgency issue for over 17 years, thereabout, in the country, Nigeria. And it seems not to be giving up. It seems to be, you know, regaining strength every now and then. You know, but there's that conversation of, how do we tackle this if we don't get the people that are financing this thing, that are bankrolling this thing? Because there has to be, I was doing a bit of research and I saw how much an AK-47 rifle would cost, even in the local market, the parallel, the cross-border kind of market, all of those ones that are not, and I saw it was running into millions, about 500,000 to 1 million in certain places. So if you need 500,000...
Even a drone.
So an average person that is earning the minimum wage of 70,000 naira in the country, which I think many people still don't, unfortunately. An average person that is earning 70,000 naira cannot save up to that point to get 500,000, 700,000 to get an AK-47, not to talk about the bullets and all of those things he will still carry. To talk about food again, he needs bankrolling. So someone is bankrolling until we get to the point of saying, these are the people, and catch them, hold them by the neck. I'm not sure we are going anywhere.
It's really sad, and I think it's a fine place to leave this discussion. But then at the end of the day, let's take a few comments on that. This person, Christopher, is saying, while the U.S. deployment is seen by some as a welcome reinforcement against terrorism, others worry about sovereignty, dependency, and unintended consequences. The ultimate impact would depend on how Nigeria balances foreign assistance with building its own long-term security. I think that's very spot on. Tech Hobbit is saying, if Tinubu had focused half as much on propaganda as on security reform, ISIS wouldn't be gaining ground in Nigeria. And the final comment this morning is coming from Yana. Fantastic news, a strong partnership for Nigeria's security. That's a good one. Recently, the defense minister said, we have what it takes to solve insecurity in Nigeria. So let's put it to good use and then collaborate with the United States and let's solve insurgency once and for all. A big thanks to you for being a part of this session. Of course, do well to join us tomorrow for another interesting session. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Please be safe at all times.
And of course, remember, the responsibility of making Nigeria great again is yours, is mine to do, and it's everybody's responsibility. My name is Anulu Akwedo. Enjoy the rest of the day.